The Galactic Defense Academy's training hall buzzed with nervous energy as cadets from 17 different species lined up for combat assessment. James Chen stood among them, his human frame appearing deceptively fragile next to the towering Krethari warriors and the heavily armored Vextani soldiers. At barely 6 feet tall and weighing only 180 pounds, he looked like prey among predators. Instructor Veltar, a 7-foot-tall Zephyrian with 4 arms and chitinous plating, surveyed the group with obvious disdain. His compound eyes lingered on James with particular contempt. "Today we test your species' combat capabilities," Veltar announced, his translator rendering his clicking sounds into galactic standard. "Each cadet will demonstrate their natural fighting prowess against a training opponent." Liza Martinez, James's fellow human cadet and closest friend at the academy, whispered from beside him, "Stay calm. Remember what we practiced." James nodded, almost imperceptibly. They had spent countless hours in the human quarters, reviewing Earth's military history and combat techniques that the other species couldn't possibly understand. The first few demonstrations proceeded predictably. The Krethari cadet crushed a combat dummy with brute force. The Vextani cadet's armored hide deflected training weapons effortlessly. The insectoid Hyvrex cadet moved with lightning speed, striking multiple targets simultaneously. When James's name was called, a ripple of amused chittering swept through the alien cadets. Even some of the instructors exchanged what humans would recognize as knowing looks. "The Deathworlder approaches," Veltar announced mockingly, using the galactic term for species from high-gravity, dangerous planets. "Let us see what this soft, weak creature can accomplish." The other cadets laughed openly. Humans had only joined the galactic community 6 months ago, and their reputation preceded them. A species from a hellish world of extreme weather, deadly fauna, and constant environmental threats. Most galactic citizens assumed that surviving such a planet meant sacrificing individual combat ability for technological advancement. James stepped into the combat ring, facing a hulking training android designed to mimic various alien physiologies. Veltar programmed it to Krethari specifications, 8 feet tall, 4 arms, and combat protocols equivalent to their warrior class. "This should be entertaining," Veltar sneered. "Perhaps the human will run away like his kind surely did from their planet's predators." More laughter erupted from the crowd. Liza's hands clenched into fists, but she remained silent, trusting in her friend's abilities. The android activated, immediately charging toward James with surprising speed for its size. Its 4 arms swung in coordinated attacks that would have pulverized most species. James didn't run, he didn't even flinch. Instead, he did something that no galactic citizen expected. He moved toward the threat. At the last possible second, James dropped low and pivoted, using the android's momentum against it. His right leg swept behind its advance foot while his hands guided its forward motion past him. The android crashed face-first into the arena floor with a thunderous impact that shook the viewing stands. The laughter died instantly. But James wasn't finished. As the android struggled to rise, he was already moving. A precise strike to a joint that his human anatomy classes had identified as vulnerable in Krethari physiology. Another to a nerve cluster that would cause temporary paralysis. The android convulsed and collapsed. Total engagement time, 8 seconds. Veltar's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. "Impossible. The combat android is programmed for species that fight like you," James interrupted calmly, straightening his uniform. "You assume combat means trading blows until the stronger wins. On Earth, that gets you killed." The human cadet addressed the silent crowd. "My planet didn't make us weak. It made us creative. When you can't outrun a predator, you outsmart it. When you can't overpower an enemy, you redirect their strength against them. We learn to see every environment as a weapon, every opponent's strength as a weakness waiting to be exploited." Liza smiled proudly as murmurs of newfound respect rippled through the alien cadets. Veltar, however, was not impressed. His species' honor demanded satisfaction. "You caught the machine off guard. Face a real opponent, Deathworlder." The instructor stepped into the ring, towering over James. His forearms spread wide, revealing the natural weapons that had made Zephyrians feared across 3 sectors. Razor-sharp claws extended from each fingertip. "Instructor Veltar," Liza called out, her voice carrying a warning edge that made several aliens step back instinctively. "Are you certain about this?" James looked up at his opponent and smiled. Not the friendly expression most species recognized, but something far more predatory. 10 seconds, he said quietly. Veltar launched himself forward with a roar, all 4 arms striking simultaneously in a pattern that had devastated opponents across the galaxy. James had already moved. He slipped inside the instructor's reach before the first claw could connect, his elbow finding the nerve center at the base of Veltar's neck. As the alien's nervous system overloaded, James grabbed one of the flailing arms and used it as a lever, redirecting the instructor's significant mass and momentum downward. Veltar hit the arena floor with bone-crushing force, his chitinous plating cracking audibly. He lay motionless, conscious, but completely incapacitated. James checked his chronometer. 9 seconds. I'm getting slow. The training hall remained absolutely silent as the human cadet helped the stunned instructor to his feet. Veltar's compound eyes stared at James with something approaching reverence. "How?" the instructor wheezed. "Earth has 7 billion humans," James replied matter-of-factly. "Every single one is descended from ancestors who survived everything our planet could throw at us. We didn't become the dominant species through strength or speed. We became dominant because we never stop adapting, never stop learning, and never accept that any problem is unsolvable." As medical personnel attended to Veltar's injuries, Liza joined James at the center of the ring. The alien cadets parted, respectfully, finally understanding why the humans' application to join the Galactic Defense Forces had been approved so quickly. "I believe," James addressed the crowd one final time, "you'll find that underestimating Deathworlders is a mistake you only make once." The Academy's training protocols were revised that very day, and humanity's reputation in the galactic community shifted from curiosity to cautious respect. The universe, it seemed, had finally met a species that turned survival into an art form. And in the years that followed, when other species spoke of humans, they no longer used the term Deathworlder as an insult, but as a warning, and sometimes as a compliment of the highest order.